guys, welcome back. We have a midweek energy update to get into. We have more big astrology going on. Actually, a once in a lifetime alignment happening between the Sun and Neptune at 29 degrees of the sign of Pisces as we move into the energy of Wednesday this week. There's also probably quite a palpable vibe shift happening between Wednesday and Thursday this week. Wednesday is like the most potent, ultimate, pure Piscean Neptunian energy, representing perhaps some endings that we're kind of ever going to get. Now, on Thursday, the Sun moves from 29 degrees of Pisces to 1 degree of Aries. We have the spring equinox going on, and the moon also enters the sign of Sagittarius. So we move from a very release ending oriented water sign trine between the sun and the moon with Neptune, the lord of the seas, in the sign of Pisces. You know what I mean? Like very, very, very emotionally sensitive energy, to a fire sign trine at 1 degree of fire signs on Thursday. This is probably jump starting things a little bit. Definitely a spark being lit. Now, I don't think that this influx of Aries energy is going to be super significant in the context of really moving things forward right now. We've got a lot of retrogrades. Mars is trine Saturn. We're in our eclipse window. So a lot of things are still really kind of looking back and trying to sort themselves out, but we should be feeling brought back to life in some way between Wednesday and Thursday somehow. And we've got a lot to talk about, you guys. So let's get into our report of the day. Take a look at all of this in more detail, try to get an understanding of where we're at on Wednesday, which really might be difficult. This is not the most coherent energy, and we're going to talk all about it and also see where we're going as we move into Thursday. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews, just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We will do that at the end. We have a lot of astrology to get into. As I mentioned in my intro, we have some more of this like once in a lifetime astrology going on, not just now, but really over this next couple of weeks. This Neptune at the very last degree of the sign of Pisces, about to enter the sign of Aries and begin a new transit around the entire zodiac, which takes like approximately 165 years. We haven't seen this energy since then. It is similar to the magnitude of the Pluto entering Aquarius transit that we recently had, although, you know, of course it's functioning differently because it's a different planet, a different type of energy moving into a different sign. But it is still this very, I mean, it's been a long time since Neptune began a new transit through all of the 12 signs of the zodiac. And until then, it happens on March 30th. Neptune is at 29 degrees of the sign of Pisces. 29 degrees of any sign is known as a critical degree. It's a degree that really kind of encompasses all of the multi-octave potentials of that entire sign, and it can just resonate to a more purified version of the energy of that sign. We put Neptune there. Neptune's the ruler of the sign of Pisces as well. I'm telling you guys, this is probably the most pure, powerful expression of Neptunian Piscean energy that this planet has seen in a while, and that we will see for another very long period of time. Honestly, the only thing that could enhance the magnitude of the Neptune Pisces energy that is at play this week would be like literally if Jupiter was also in the conjunction and the moon was in the conjunction as well. But the moon is aspecting exactly this conjunction by trine, which, although it's not an exact conjunction, trine energy facilitates things. This is a supportive flow of energy that we've got going on between the moon in the sign of Scorpio in a perfect trine to the sun and Neptune in a perfect conjunction together at that very last critical degree of the sign of Pisces, which is not only the 29th degree of a sign, it's, you know, the sign that Neptune rules, and it happens to be the very last degree in the entire zodiac. And mind you, this is also taking place right now while we are moving through a very powerful eclipse window. which is also all about ending, culminating karmic cycles, karmic lessons, fated, destined events taking place, being sort of caught in between the past and the future, but also kind of on this, going through this portal. That's what I was saying about the new moon eclipse energy. It feels like this entire eclipse season is sort of like a portal between the past and the future, or where the past and the future are colliding, and energy is becoming more weighted in terms of what will be happening next and who we're becoming, as opposed to who we've been, and sort of the laws and rules that govern that previous state of our existence that we are evolving out of now. This is a time of, on some level, everybody on some level, whether it's conscious or unconscious, whether it's something that we are able to like actually feel or see or perceive going on or not, everybody's going through some type of personal evolution that is centered around a spiritual lesson or a phase of spiritual growth, ultimately. And we know that because the north node of the moon also happens to be in the conjunction with Neptune right now, and the sun in the sign of Pisces. This conjunction is no longer exact. There's like a 2-degree orb separation between the north node and Neptune right now, but the north node is the destiny point, you guys. Neptune, it's like the end of a way of believing, okay? An end of a way of believing, an end of a way of perceiving reality, an end of an illusion as well, like some type of narrative, or, I mean, Neptune is the fantasy, the dream, it's our belief systems, how we connect to a higher power. There is some cycle culminating that has been foundational in terms of our beliefs and our perception of the story of our reality, that is going to be shifting and altering itself somehow, you guys, as we move forward into this next couple weeks. It's a really crazy times right now from an energy level, and that's why I was saying, you know, it feels like this eclipse window between that full moon lunar eclipse that we had and the new moon solar eclipse is coming up next, literally like this wormhole or portal to another world that we are just being sucked through. And the entrance of it is like requiring us to let a lot of things go. There is a major element of like cleansing, purification, things being washed away, like things are going out with the tide, okay? At least it seems Monday through Wednesday of this week. Now, as I said, and I'll talk much more in detail about this as we move through the report, Wednesday to Thursday, we also have a significant energetic vibe shift going on because the sun leaves Pisces, that 29th degree, last degree of the zodiac, enters the sign of Aries, first degree, equinox, spring, you know, like the fresh start, the rebirth energy, the new spark of life, and the moon, because as I said earlier, the moon, and I will elaborate on, don't worry, I will elaborate on much more as we move through this report, but the moon was in the trine exactly to that conjunction at the last degree of that water sign, Scorpio, on Wednesday, so therefore that would mean the moon and the sun are sort of moving together right now. The sun enters the sign of Aries, the moon enters the sign of Sagittarius, bing bang boom, we just went from a super powerful water sign trine, all about the tide going out, things being washed away, endings, to rebirth, new beginnings, the spark of life, life force, jump starting the system, okay? And quite fired up with the trine playing out between the moon in Sagittarius and the sun in Aries, and this trine happening in the very, very early degrees of those signs, as opposed to the previous water trine that we are in on Wednesday happening at the very, very, very last degrees, okay? So again, eclipse season, you guys, endings and beginnings, very significant transition point energy right now. And then this week, which is unfolding within our eclipse window, also in a multitude of ways representing this ending and beginning transitional energy. So how things are on Wednesday is probably not going to be how they are on Thursday. You may feel like you are just at the end of the rope, like can't get up off the ground, no energy, deflated, lifeless, like you'd rather be sleeping, you'd rather be dreaming. just desire to disconnect from reality, or feeling very disconnected, wanting to avoid, wanting to evade, wanting to escape, wanting to just be caught in some ideal or some vision or some fantasy, very disassociated from or disconnected from reality. That's the vibe when we have literally like once in a lifetime off the chart level extent of Neptunian energy. Now, this is both going to be for the better and the worse. As we move through the report and I start getting more into my notes, I will talk about the various ways that we could see this energy manifesting. I've been talking about the potential manifestations associated with the strong Neptunian energy for a little while as we've been moving forward towards this point. But that is very emotional. That is very sensitive. That is all about the ending of something, moving into the energy of Thursday. That is representative of the shift or transition that takes place and the potential to begin focusing on what's coming next. Now, another thing to keep in mind right now, even though we do have this influx of fire energy coming in and we are getting this like jump start to the system following that very deflated energy that can be represented by the Neptunian flow of things, because it is. Neptune washes things away. It breaks things down. It dissipates things. It dissolves. It's like I always think of strong Neptunian energy as like the tides in the ocean coming in and out and the impact that has on whatever is built on that sand over usually like a shorter than longer period of time. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take long for that water to wash away the foundations that are supporting the things that are built just like, you know, on that sandy surface when we have a lot of water energy playing out, and especially in the context of Saturn right now also being in the sign of Pisces. See, that's another thing, and I'll come back to this later as well. But not only do we have this very powerful water trine taking place on Wednesday with the moon, of course the moon, which is also, you know, ruling the sign of Cancer, which is also this water energy, which also rules the tides of things, the emotions, the internal environment, like the level of emotionality and sensitivity and also like intuition and psychic energy and stuff like that, spiritual energy, yes, available for sure with this, just like way, it's like a flood. It's like a literal flood of water energy that we've got going on just in that regard on Wednesday. But we also have Mars and Saturn in a trine right now in water signs as well. The moon ruling the position of Mars in Cancer. Mars coming back into a trine with Saturn. We already had this aspect once, but Mars went retrograde and is now direct and is building back up to it again, which is going to be coming up over this next couple of days. And you know, that's doing a couple things as well. That is like Saturn there, that is the structure, that is the foundation, that is the rules and the systems that we have been adhering to and that have essentially maintained the framework of our reality for either a certain era of our lives, or perhaps throughout the course of our entire lives, or perhaps from a larger generational or historical perspective as well. Saturn is the lord of karma. Saturn is the lord of time. Saturn rules everything to do with the past and with history. There's also a very strong emphasis on the past right now. Remember that as well as you're moving through this week, and I'll again address that more as we move through the report. And I do move into the energy of the weekend also, because this weekend is a very past centered, focused energy also. But what I really mean to say is that this eclipse window, this water energy, the transitional nature of all of this, a major element is this breakdown, wash away, cleanse, release dynamic and aspect of things. We have Saturn involved right now, that's karmic lessons. We have the South Node involved right now, that's karmic release. We are moving towards some new era of our lives, some new phase of experience, some new chapter that is going to be radically different from anything that we've experienced before. But the first part of this is heavily being indicated, and we can see, like, you can literally see the transition this week when we're moving from the sun conjuncting the north node in Pisces conjunct Neptune on Monday, and then on Wednesday we've got the exact conjunction with the moon in trine. This is an emotional release, releasing some emotional burden, releasing some emotional attachment, perhaps even like something within our, like, our deeper psychological nature, some type of unconscious or subconscious programming with the moon in Scorpio as well, that perhaps had been representing some like toxic attachment or karmic cycle that we had been enmeshed with and unable to release, that had been functioning or acting as a hindrance to our growth somehow. Again, like, it's all coming back to this element of spiritual growth that we are gaining through the experiences that we are interfacing now as a part of some higher fated, like, destined, like, necessary path that we've like got to do and encounter at this time in this moment for some reason, pertaining to, though, our greater shift of ages right now in this transition of into the sign of Aquarius that's underway. You know, we know with the being this alignment happening at the very last degree, 29 degrees of the sign of Pisces, like, Neptune just happens to be hitting that 29 degree of the 165-year transit through the entire zodiac during Pisces season. You know what I mean? Like realistically speaking, in that amount of time, in 165 years, like, it could have been any season of the year in terms of the zodiac season, like the sign season, whatever, wherever the new moon, the lunar cycle that we were moving through. It could have been any lunar cycle, but it happens to take place during this Pisces lunar cycle, which also happens to be during eclipse season on the Virgo Pisces axis. These alignments are just like so specifically and perfectly set up. It always blows my mind. But anyways, and then like as we move through this week, this is the week itself where the sun does hit that Neptune 29th degree conjunction and enter the sign of Aries. So the shift takes place between Wednesday and Thursday. Now, as I've been saying, I don't think that we're really going to begin to feel the forward momentum generally associated with Aries season and Aries energy, like just following the equinox, just following the sun's entrance into the sign of Aries. Like, I do think we're going to get like a bit of a jolt, you know, a bit of a pick me up, but we still have Mars trine Saturn. Mars rules Aries. Saturn limits things, it slows things down. You know, it's stalling progress. It's making sure things are done right and done well and done to like serve the long-term longevity, the test of time. Like, the things that are being started and built in this energy are going to be done right, but they're not happening quickly. Like, they're not going to be done fast. And that's sort of adversarial to the general Aries energy, which just wants to rush forward into things. So there's some pressure being applied, some holdups taking place in terms of the Aries energy in that regard. Also, the other planets we have in Aries right now that the sun will be coming into a conjunction with as we close out this week and enter next week, Venus and Mercury, both retrograde in the sign of Aries, retrograde going backwards. Like, things are still looking backwards more than they're looking forwards. We're still kind of like focused on the past, okay? We're in this South Node lunar eclipse window energy right now also, which has to do with the past and these karmic endings. So it's still looking like, to me, even after we go through the shift on Thursday, like, we're still, yes, like we're probably feeling revitalized and like brought back to life on some level, but it's still not clear for us, it seems, to truly begin to move forward. I think that once we move into April, once we close this eclipse window, get through the new moon in Aries, Neptune is also entering the sign of Aries, which will be another big energy shift that we've got coming up over this next couple of weeks. But once we get into the month of April, I do think that that is when we're more likely to see some of these big changes really start to take off and progress to start moving us forward in a more straightforward, linear fast-paced trajectory. Okay, also we have a very, very emotionally sensitive week underway this week. We have all week, and really since that full moon lunar eclipse, been moving through some kind of extreme emotional energy, very, very sensitive, tons of water energy, powerful emotional undercurrents that probably are and have been propelling a lot of events and actions that have been going on. Very fated time. Karmic clearing is definitely going on here, and powerful time of necessary endings and release. And there is something to do with spiritual or soul growth being the outcome of whatever it is that we go through right now. There could be a lot of old lessons or past experiences that are coming back now and demanding accountability as well. This is a time of tests, also spiritual tests. What are we going to do in certain situations? Like almost tests to see if we have learned the lesson, if we have earned the right to graduate from that cycle, or if we need some more work in terms of whatever that particular experience is and has been presenting to us. And we just can't hide from the past when we've got energy like this going on throughout the course of this eclipse window. I do think we're going to be required to face and to surrender to a lot of things, or surrender things generally, let things go. Remember, this was also a full moon lunar eclipse, south node eclipse in the sign of Virgo. That could literally be about having to let go of possessions, of assets, like financial situations and stuff like that as well. Virgo is the sign of the harvest. Pisces is the sign of like surrender and sacrifice. Saturn was right there also in the conjunction and opposition to the full moon. Like there could be some, or there could have been some level of almost like sacrifice of some harvest or some hard work or some payoff that we thought we were going to get for something, or something that we've been putting time and energy into like for a long period of time, maybe needing to be sacrificed or surrendered for some reason. But it's also a part of this spiritual growth. Like it's also a part of this spiritual lesson. So, I mean, every circumstance is going to vary, but themes and things along those lines could be very relevant as we move through this energy as well. All of this water energy is definitely, I feel like to me, and especially being with the moon, I feel like I say this all the time. I have like this ongoing joke with the moon, that the moon just always happens to be making some type of exact contact to important aspects when they take place. And you know, again, like the moon could be anywhere throughout the course of the month. The moon is in each sign for like 2 to 3 days each month, and it is just like always synchronistically, coincidentally, it seems to be that the moon will be in, you know, exact aspect, trine, square, opposition, conjunction, sextile even, but usually not. Usually a more significant aspect than a sextile, like usually a major aspect to whatever big astrological aspect or event is going on. Like for example, this situation, the day that we have the sun and Neptune magically aligning at 29 degrees Pisces, last degree of the zodiac. The moon could be anywhere, but the moon is not. The moon is also at 29 degrees of a water sign, enhancing, supporting, facilitating whatever mystery, magic, mysticism, release, loss, letting go, illusions breaking down, whatever it is that the Sun at Neptune conjunction is bringing into our lives or our experience. So the tide is going out, taking with it those things that have been perhaps acting as either a conscious or unconscious, conscious or subconscious block or hindrance to true spiritual growth. So this to me is probably the most potent and pure expression of Piscean Neptune energy that we are really gonna see. Unless you are some type of artist or actor or musician or creative out there, I would take the day off if you can, especially if you like operate heavy machinery or you're in charge of like building important things and stuff. there's just a possibility for things to be skewed. Like, we're not seeing things clearly. You might literally be having vision problems for some reason. Like, I've seen that happen in strong Neptunian energy as well. And this is, like I said, obviously the heights of it. So it's not great work energy. This is not energy where we are meant to be asserting ourselves out there. This is a much more receptive, surrender, like meditative, like joining with a higher power energy than putting out some type of energetic output. That is much better on Thursday, right? When we have the sun and the moon in a trine together in fire signs now, with the sun at 1 degree of Aries. So don't expect anything to be like sharp or rational or clear or straightforward. It's all about the dream, the vision, the ideal, and the fantasy. Nothing real happens in this energy. Whatever people are talking about, you know, it might sound lovely. It might be the heights of what you would wish for. True, like wishing on a star, dream, ideal, visualization, how it could be type of energy, but it is the dream, okay? And the tricky part of this Neptunian energy is the same illusion that actual dreams present, right? When you are in a dream, generally it feels very, very real, like to the point that we don't even obviously like realize or know that we're dreaming. It's a dream and it feels like the reality while you're in it, and you don't know until you wake up that that was a dream. And that's exactly how this energy presents as well, like things happening in it, what we're feeling, especially the emotions, the beauty, the compassion, the desire to connect and to avoid reality and just be in this moment of bliss or something like that. Very, very elevated here, but it is just not the reality. When this energy shifts and changes and this frequency disbands, it's going to literally be like waking up from some type of dream, and we will realize like, oh, that was just something I was caught up in for the moment. That was just some type of over idealization, or, you know, it would have been nice, but it's just not real. It's just not practical. It's not logical. And at the end of the day, like, it's not what I actually want for my real life, even though it was a nice moment in time type of thing. Except, on the other hand, as I said, if you are some type of artist or musician or just like highly creative person or like actor or something like that, really tremendous feats of, you know, literary or performative or creative or artistic endeavors, pieces are capable of being produced and manifested in this energy for sure. So it is like stepping into a bit of an alternative reality on Wednesday. If you're feeling like that throughout the course of the day, it is just the dominant frequency that's resonating out there. You may be, as I said, like having literal vision problems, inability to see or understand things clearly. You might feel like your mind is just really foggy. You could actually oversleep, or again, find yourself having these extremely real or vivid dreams or daydreams type of situations going on, feeling groggy, out of it throughout the day. Wonder at some point throughout the day maybe if you are still just actually dreaming. So it's not a work day, okay? This is a rest day. Stretching, yoga, you know, Tai Chi and stuff like that, meditation, walking, swimming, soaking, spiritual practices, being in and around or on the water could be therapeutic. I mean, this is extreme water energy, so that is a way to align yourself with the vibes out there as well. That's the type of thing that this energy is for, okay? It is receptive. It is not assertive. It is passive. It is not active. It is slow. It is not a fast-paced energy. This is surrender, not control. We are being asked to let go and go with the flow in all this water energy, even if we cannot see clearly where things are leading, where we are going, where we are being carried. Things are not how they seem in this energy either, you know, which is another way of saying basically everything that I've just said. But we do know the North Node, you guys, it's part of a bigger plan here. Mars in Cancer, trine Saturn in Pisces as well. Karmic actions, like what we're doing right now, whether it's something that we're enjoying or whether it's something that is a true struggle and, you know, very difficult challenge and task that we're having to persevere through. there is an important lesson here that has to do with new foundations that we are going to be laying moving forward. We are also in that eclipse window. Nothing is real stable out there either. I think that there's just like a lot of variability in terms of how outcomes can manifest themselves right now, literally based on the choices and decisions we are making in this energy in the context of the lessons that we are being presented with, and whether or not, you know, we are crossing that threshold to release ourselves from these cycles, or we do have more lessons that we need to learn in some specific karmic regard. But all in all, as I said, you know, and I will continue to say, and I feel like it is always coming back to, there is a dimension of spiritual growth that we are all going through right now. And it is important for some higher reason that it happens right now as a larger part of this transition of ages that's underway, and us being the human population that are present during this time and responsible to begin anchoring that energy through the alteration of our own energy fields as a byproduct of these transitions that are underway right now, and the way that it's changing us and our experiences, and, you know, everything about our lives moving forward. It's the microcosm, macrocosm. This transition is underway, right? And it is happening on these greater cosmic levels, but it's happening on Earth on the 3D level as a result of the way it's impacting us, and our behaviors, actions, and mentalities and beliefs are changing as a result of that. So yes, as above, so below, but we actually build it through the way that we are transforming as a result of it, if that makes sense. Okay, so these are times of fate and destiny, right? These hard tests, but also breaking very important karmic cycles, being released from past dogmas and past systems of belief and control that dominated or were foundational in the old way that things are, but are not representative of the new future that we are about to collide with, actually coming up here very, very soon. Nothing is without purpose right now, even if we can't see it. Lots of illusions, lots of clouds, lots of distortion when we've got all this Neptune energy, but we can absolutely count on the fact that there is a higher purpose behind everything that is going on right now. It's also funny because I've spoken significantly about how the moon's placement in Scorpio on Wednesday, forming the trine to the Sun-Neptune conjunction, is significant in terms of activating that energy and bringing it up to another level. But you guys know what the moon is also doing while transiting the later degrees of Scorpio, proceeding into that trine with the Sun and Neptune? The moon is making an opposition to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Uranus in Taurus is also about removing blockages to authentic growth, making changes for us that perhaps we haven't been able to make for ourselves, to unlock some latent potential within us, to assist us in the process of manifesting some higher destiny, activating some destiny, bringing something out of ourselves, cultivating some potential, translating it into some manifest reality that for whatever reason we haven't been able to do, or it wasn't the time to happen until right now, but like now is the time. That moon Uranus opposition also is indicating the perhaps emotional turbulence, emotional upsets that could be going on in this energy in the context of purification of that emotional body. Again, like the same type of energy that's coming through with the trine between the moon and Scorpio and the Sun and Neptune together with the North Node and the sign of Pisces. But it's a part of the process of these changes and transformations that need to take place to put us on that track to activate that destiny. Emotional upsets, yes. Shakeups in comfort zones, yes. This is also indicating perhaps the material, financial, resource, asset based nature of what may be transitioning, what may be shifting and changing, what we may be letting go of or getting rid of right now. But it's just another indication that is happening meanwhile, right? Simultaneous to all of this other energy going on that is saying basically the same thing. So Wednesday, just to reiterate, Everything may feel distorted, foggy, hazy, unclear, slow, dreamy, non-linear, otherworldly, generally unreal, out of it. Not a good day to even try to understand, to be honest with you. It does, this Neptunian energy, it is associated with like the higher octave Venus energy. It is kind of like this high heart, divine inspiration energy, and it does invoke feelings of compassion and clarity, self-sacrifice, and altruism. People may also be feeling very compelled to downsize and simplify in this energy, literally just like give things away. I would expect this week that there are greater than average numbers of like charitable donations going on, people randomly donating things, giving things away, being like inspired by some compassion or altruism to serve something or be like self-sacrificing somehow. But the energy of Neptune can also be very deceptive, very, again, like unrealistic, very manipulative. It also has to do with victimhood, vulnerability, weakness, and the urge to disconnect, detach, avoid, evade. Reality can be very strong. The physical body is going to be hypersensitive this week. This is an important point as well, especially to any type of drug or intoxicant. So be mindful of that. People could just be having some unnaturally bad reactions to things that they're putting in their body, putting in their bloodstream, putting in their system. And like, unfortunately, also, this is energy where people are likely to be doing more of just that because they're going to be wanting to escape, wanting to disconnect, wanting to get into that like bliss state. You know what I mean? So more people are going to be drinking and doing drugs and various types. And also, this energy can lower our immunity and can lower our vitality and make us more prone or susceptible to like illnesses and stuff like that. So people are probably going to be taking more drugs and medications. This can also really spark up mental health issues and stuff. So people could be taking more drugs and medications for stuff like that as well. So there is just an enhanced likelihood or aptitude of bad reactions, allergic reactions, or ODs to be more prominent during this period of time. Depression and suicide are indicated in energy like this as well. The desire to escape reality and reconnect with the spirit world is pronounced here. Of course, we want to do that through prayer and meditation and other means and ways of connecting to a higher power, and not through the more self-destructive avenues to get to that place as well. But Pisces is a very dualistic sign. We are going to see the manifest expression of both. There could also, again, be a lot of these very strange spiritual phenomenon going on, like literally interactions or interfacing with a higher power. I mean, I'm telling you, there is no boundary in this energy on Wednesday between spiritual world and material world, like the seen and the unseen. There is a true fusion going on here. And again, it's very rare. Like, this is a once in a lifetime energy. Neptune will not be back at the 29th degree of Pisces for over 150 years. And then again, like, in order for us to have the potential for this type of Neptunian energy to be happening again, it would either have to be Jupiter and the moon that can join that energy, or the sun would have to just so happen to be going through Pisces season when Neptune is at that specific degree. So the chances of it happening anytime soon are very small, and this is just one of those moments in time where there is a true merging happening between invisible and visible, spiritual and material, intangible and tangible, the dream and the reality as well. Very powerful manifestation energy, but again, a lot of this is not real. And what is real, the like beautiful, profound, divine visions that we are bringing to life right now, are going to be slow in their progress. Anything that is instantaneous right now, I'm telling you guys, is not real. If it feels too easy, if it feels too good to be true, it probably is, because with that Mars-Saturn element going on, especially tomorrow when the sun enters Aries and we move towards Aries season, it's not happening. Anything that is long lasting, anything that will endure, anything that is legitimately real is gonna take a minute, because we are literally like laying new foundations that are meant to support like us, or just extensive periods of our lives, or, you know, literally new legacies and generations that are to come for years to come. So one good way to tell, is it real or is it not, in this specific energy, may have to do with the amount of time and effort it is taking to move something forward. There could also be some type of grand deception that is going on right now. There could be an illusion or a narrative or a performance or a projection or a show that is being presented in some type of a way in this Neptunian energy that could be very immersive. Maybe we are just having some type of like fantastical fantasy experience. Or this could also be the fracturing and the breakdown or the falling apart of some, this is also the energy of like Dorothy realizing that the great and powerful Oz has always really just been a mirage and is actually just this guy. You know, like that could also be one of the dimensions, one of the octaves of the Pisces energy that is so prominent right now, both presenting and displaying these grand performance or a grand show or a grand vision or a grand image, and also illusions that maybe we've been operating under, or dreams or fantasies breaking down. This is also probably going to be bringing up or putting a prominence on all things related to, pertaining to water. Very relevant. I mean, water in all of its forms: oceans, lakes, bodies of water, shipping, boats, pipelines, oil and stuff as well, you know, coming from deep under the water, things deep under the water, things on the water. Big rainstorms also could be going on, or like flooding and stuff like that, with this major prominence of the water energy. Also like destruction by water, breakdown by water, damage by water, things falling apart as a result of water or in the water. Because remember, Neptune, this is like the end of something in terms of the water. Okay, so there could be stuff like that, but divine intervention, very spiritual experiences, emotional overwhelm could definitely be going on as a part of what is being released or ended right now. There could be overflow of emotions, like literal tears and stuff like that, that are just kind of like uncontrollable or unable to be held back. They should be released. This is a time of that emotional release, detachment, purging toxic emotions and emotional burdens that we have been carrying, that have had us locked in these karmic cycles. It's a time of also perhaps some great personal or internal revelations, maybe some illusions that we've had about ourselves that we are having to take accountability for right now. Like there's a very strong like accountability type of energy coming through right here as well. But it's, again, like it's a part of that test. There's these tests, there's these like these challenges that we face, but also this opportunity and coming to a period of time to like truly gain some real growth, truly make some real like personal progress in terms of the nature of our soul, not in terms of like our physical abundance, not in terms of like how much money we have, not in terms of like career or reputation or like stuff like that. Like that's generally not where the energy is supporting our expansion right now. It's in terms of like who we are deep inside, our ability to see that and to relate to that and come to a point where we are beginning to embody and to step into that, to drop the mask, to drop the facades, to become more authentic, and to harness our personal power as a result of that, and transform our lives through stepping into this place of authentic personal power as a result of discovering and realizing some latent potential or some authentic potential existing within us that maybe we had been denying as a result of being caught in some image or some vision or some ideal or some perception of what we thought we wanted, what we thought the dream was, what we thought the ideal was, coming to realize perhaps that was never the ideal after all, reestablishing some ideal of greatness. And that's important because I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Some new ideal of greatness that we find ourselves moving towards in a way that like we kind of don't even have a choice anymore. And it's like the more we move in that direction, the more we find that things are falling into place and things are a bit easier and universe is supporting us. The more we fight against that direction, the more blocks, the more resistance that we're going to come up against generally during this period of time. So cycles are ending, you guys. Like we are being brought to a point to cross a threshold within ourselves that translates into a new threshold in our experience of reality itself. And again, this is just happening, you know, to us in our lives. Like, these are just our experiences, but really, I think on a greater level, these individual microcosm transitions, transformations, like redirects, recalibrations in terms of like how we're interfacing with life right now are the new pillars, are the new foundation for this next 2,000-year age that we are moving towards, and that really is finding its roots now over this next 20 years as Pluto transits the sign of Aquarius. So again, like this Virgo Pisces eclipse axis, the perhaps need to sacrifice a harvest of some kind in order to attain a certain wisdom, which will ultimately lead to a better harvest that is more fulfilling maybe than whatever it is that we had been building that is just no longer the ideal. And the reason why, you know, that specific context of things could be extra important as well is because of the symbolism associated actually with the last degree of the zodiac, 29 degrees of Pisces. That Sabian symbol is the longest symbol of all of the symbols, and it's very, very meaningful, I feel like, especially in terms of where we are at now and what we're moving through and what this energetic window in time represents. That Sabian symbol is a majestic rock formation resembling a face, is idealized by a boy who takes it as his ideal of greatness, and as he grows up begins to look like it. So it's all about recognizing now, moving forward, based on everything we've experienced and everything we've learned, what perhaps a more authentic version of our ideal of greatness genuinely is, and the ways that life is moving itself around us to facilitate our ability to attain that new ideal, to move towards it, to grow into it, to begin to look like it, because we have discovered that that is actually who we are, and we're no longer trying to like mold ourselves into the old ideal or the old image or the old belief or the old concept of who we were supposed to be or what was appropriate for us or what was expected of us, or, you know, society's ideal or expectation of success and greatness. So that's also the transition, you guys. You know, it's happening internally within us as well. It may result in some really difficult external experiences that we have to face. But I do just think, you know, where it puts us is going to be a place where we have a greater ability to become who we're meant to be. And that, again, is what this time is calling for. We're not in the age of Pisces anymore. We are like being rooted into the age of Aquarius, as I say, with Pluto's transition into the age of Aquarius, Pluto ruling power in all of its forms, Pluto being the underworld, Pluto being the root and the core of things, moving over the next 20 years through this Aquarius energy, which is also representing this new age that we are moving into, of course, but it is these transformations that we are making now to come back to our original authenticity, be empowered by that, to like change the way, like, this is not the Piscean energy anymore, is what I was going to say. That energy was about schooling together. It was about like falling in line according to a specific like hierarchy. It was about seeking connection to a power outside of ourselves. This Aquarius energy is about discovering the power within ourselves and creating consciously the reality around us in connection with a higher power, like co-creation. It's much more co-creative. It's about self-actualization. And it really, like, I mean, Aquarius is one of the only signs of the zodiac that is embodied by a human figure as well. This is like the age of humanity and conscious awareness in collaboration with the divine and with the universe and the energetic laws of this reality, building and creating the reality. So it's a totally different dynamic energetically that we are moving through, that we are moving towards. And as a result of that, you guys, we're going to have to become totally different people in order to fit that energetic mainframe that is coming down, being emanated now. So yeah, it's really all about ultimate endings on Wednesday with the 29-degree last degree of the zodiac conjunctions going on. Thursday, we do have this new beginning energy coming in as the sun enters the sign of Aries and the moon enters the sign of Sagittarius. We go from the 29-degree water sign trine to the 1-degree fire sign trine. Definitely a vibe shift, waking us up, bringing us back to life on some level. The second half of the week, moving towards the weekend, you may feel like you can live to fight another day, whereas on Wednesday, you may really have been questioning if you had it within you. But as I've said, and I'll continue to say, with the Mars, Saturn, and Venus and Mercury retrograde in Aries and being in this lunar eclipse window, like, we're still looking back. Okay, we're looking back more than forward. Things are slow and controlled and limited in their progress and momentum. Nothing is really moving forward unencumbered right now. This is more about these endings, the past, release, and finalizing, finishing, overcoming these karmic roadblocks to us being able to move forward into this energetic new world, which really is fast approaching as we move into April. This energy is about long-term stability, foundational longevity through short-term sacrifices and surrenders. Okay, so you may find that being reflected in like your struggles that you are personally enduring at this moment as well. And it's not about the battle here, you know what I mean? It's about the war. It's not about the short-term victory, it's about the long-term victory when we have Mars and Saturn in a trine like that and the sun entering the sign of Aries. So just to bring in a little bit of Aries vibes with the battle themes going on. Things are getting done the right way, though not the easy way, to maximize our spiritual growth at this time of great transition and moving into this new age of Aquarius. So you guys, that is what I have to say for this report for today. Tons, obviously, of just significant big energy and astrology going on out there. We got tarot that we're going to talk about. It's quite interesting because these cards are super reflective of this general energy that is going on. We had the first card that came out is the 7 of Wands, and then interestingly we have the 4 of Swords on the back of the deck. Now this pairing of cards coming out together makes me think of, on one hand, you know, there could be a desire to resist, to control. We could feel like under attack or boxed in, or like we need to defend ourselves in some type of way. But there's also an energy or a message about taking a pause, taking a break, like putting things to rest, perhaps, like ending the battle, ending the fight, or at least just kind of things being stalled or paused out to some degree. Now, we also had 2 other sets of cards coming out, both very emblematic of the astrology. We have the 6 of Cups and the Justice card, and we also have the Hierophant and the Ace of Cups, okay? This is a new belief system, a new way of feeling and believing about ourselves, about the world, in terms of, like, literally with the Hierophant here, you know, spiritual connection. This could be something also that is renewing our faith in our spiritual connection, a higher power, filling us up or finding sustenance through our connection to a higher power. But this could also just be some alteration to our belief systems, or seeing things different, or some new like belief or connection to a higher power, or even power that we're discovering within ourselves that is helping to fill us up on some level, or helping to nourish us on this emotional level. It's interesting because we have the Ace of Cups with all of this water energy, right? And look at all of the waterfalls going on there in that Ace of Cups energy. So emphasis on the water, emphasis on perhaps things overflowing with maybe some of the spiritual energy, or it's also, the Hierophant is about tradition. It is about spiritual authority. It is about a higher power. So very, very spiritual energy, okay? And it could be applying a lot of different ways. We also, though, have the Six of Cups and the Justice card. This is that karmic reckoning. This is like things from the past that are being rebalanced and like being evened out, and like reciprocity and fairness, but having to do with the past. This is a very, very, very karmic energy, and this is a very new beginning energy. So and we've got the Justice card and we've got the Hierophant. Like, this is divine justice that is like clearing the karmic, like, or helping us to release some old emotions maybe that have been attached and keeping us attached to the past, or keeping us in these karmic cycles related to the past. And like through this divine justice or spiritual reckoning or spiritual growth that's going on, or I don't know, something along those lines, it seems like we are coming to a point of some type of renewal in the way that we are feeling, the way that we are believing, the way that we are dealing with our emotional energy, or again, like what it is that we find the ideal to be, what it is that we find fulfillment in, what our true like heart's calling is reorienting us towards. I don't know, it's very funny to me how this all comes out, and it just really feels like, again, some type of karmic ending underway, release from past something that enables us to gain some type of spiritual growth or renewal somehow. So that's what I got, you guys, for our tarot message today. I am going to get one more card, a synchronicity card, but first I want to give a shout out to the jewelry company Otter Spirit. If you are into gemstone jewelry, I have the place for you, and I have a 20% promo code linked in my description box below if you want 20% off your order. But look at, you guys, this is my bracelet stacks for the day. On my left hand, I'm wearing this green jade. Love it. And I have this also, this is a white solid, it's howlite, but it's called a solitaire bracelet from Otter Spirit with a gold band. They have gold and silver bands for these little solitaire bracelets. On my right hand, I have a combination of moonstone, citrine, and morganite going on. I am obsessed with these little mini beaded bracelets. I love them so much. There's so many different combinations of them that just look amazing together. I really, I like the big beaded bracelets as well, but something about these minis just like really does it for me. I'm actually a good portion obsessed with this morganite one. It's so pretty, multicolored morganite, and the citrine one is really beautiful too. It's so funny. I'm not sure how citrine is pronounced, if it's citrine or citrine. I usually say citrine, but when I recorded my last video, I wore this one as well, and I chose the long I the whole time. And when I was watching it back, I was like, I wonder why I'm saying it like that. But yeah, we've got golden citrine right here that is really beautiful. And this moonstone, I love moonstone too. Moonstone, you know how it does the iridescent thing when the light hits it just right? These mini beads all do that, and it sparkles so pretty. You know, it looks like fairy lights in the light when the light hits it. So that's my bracelet selection for today, you guys. Again, I recommend Otter Spirit. That's where my crystal jewelry comes from. If you look in my description box below, I have a link that will give you 20% off, and I have a promo code Aubrey20 that will also give you 20% off if you want to pick some up for yourself. Also, awesome gift. Also, if you are a man watching this and you got a woman in your life, oh, I promise you, if you get her some of these little pretty little bracelets, she's not going to be upset about it. So that is something that you might want to think about as well. Anyways, that's my little plug for Otter Spirit. I'm doing a collaboration with them, and I'm super grateful for them for supporting my channel as well. That's also a good way you can support my channel. So now, you guys, let's get us a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe, we are asking for a final message, piece of guidance, piece of advice. What's going on out there? What do we need to know? What should we keep in mind? What should we remember and tell ourselves as we do move through this very strong, spiritually oriented energy this week that we're probably never really going to see again, or at least for like over 100 years? And here it is, you guys. We have one of the classics. You can only change yourself. some of the most relevant advice humanly possible at this particular epoch in the human unfolding collective experience. You can only change yourself. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Be an example for others. You cannot change others' behavior any other way except to show by good example what sort of things a good life can bring one. Forgive them for their failures, forgive them for their words, love them, and by your example show them the way. This is the only way except to pray for them, to know, and to follow your example. So very like high heart, spiritually aligned, spiritual guidance, centered message coming through here. Forgive them for their failures, forgive them for their words, love them, and by your example show them the way. Again, all about release, surrender, forgiveness, letting go, and leading by example. That is truly like, they say people don't change, you know what I mean? And people especially don't change when you're forcing them to do it. And people especially don't change, especially when you're forcing them to do it, especially when we're moving into this Aquarian energy. Aquarius is an energy, and you know, with Pluto there now, like this is our undercurrents, this is our subconscious, this is the way that power is orienting itself. When we're dealing with strong Aquarian energy, like there is no forcing change. Aquarius is about this process of activating destiny, overcoming, like breaking through barriers, overcoming boundaries, facilitating a higher purpose, this process of self-actualization. But it's not about force. It's not about control. Like Aquarius is fixed air. Like we will resist all the way till the end, okay, if it is not something that we are choosing to do because of some inspiration or some willingness that is coming from within. The best way to have a positive impact on people in this energy is to literally do what is right yourself, make the changes that you feel compelled to make yourself, not let anybody, you know, talk you out of it or pull you out of your own authenticity. And through standing in your own personal power like that and making right choices, and then people ultimately seeing the productive benefits that it has in your life, people are going to eventually make the choice to, you know, do that for themselves as well, because that is also what universe is supporting for us right now. But don't think, you know, that it's going to happen overnight. It's probably going to trigger more people than it's going to inspire to begin with. But at the end of the day, if you do you, if you stay in your lane, if you focus on personal improvement, right? Self-development, this path to self-actualization, being authentic, having integrity, working hard, not taking shortcuts, you know, having faith in yourself, putting one foot in front of the other, not giving up, having the vision and seeing it through, having the will to overcome and to, you know, persist through challenges. Like you're going to get there. You're going to be successful. That is the recipe for success. You're going to stand out. You're going to, what's that Carl Jung thing? Individuate, I think it is. You're going to actualize, and that process, it might take all the time until you get to that position of prominence or power or on that platform that you've created for yourself, but ultimately you're going to end up like, that is the way that you inspire change in others in this energy. So that's my spiel. That's the card. That's what I have to say. I'm going to stop talking now, you guys. Anyways, I hope you liked the video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you also think that they would enjoy this type of astrology content, narrating the shift of the ages with us. Leave me comments. I'm so grateful for your presence on my channel. I really appreciate you guys when you let me know what is going on with you out there. If you are having experiences that align with or reflect what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know. That's very valuable information to me. And again, I'm so grateful for you guys just being here and going through this whole shift of ages with me. It's nice to know that other people understand or are cognizant of the, you know, greater energetic ebbs and flows that we are moving through right now as well. And anyways, I will be back, come back. If you want to know also where to find this whiteboard, if you want to see the whole thing, I have a link in my description box below to a Facebook group where I post images of those boards. So that's where you can find that. Also remember Otter Spirit discount code and link in my description box below. Come back with me, you guys, on Friday. We got more energy to get into. We got a Sun Venus retrograde conjunction to talk about. That's happening on Sunday. On Monday also, the Sun will conjoin Mercury retrograde. Blast from the past. Things coming back around, full circle. I'll be back to talk about it. So you should come too. You don't want to miss it, you guys. Have a very beautiful midpoint to your week. And until next time, bye.